Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video of the Two Fellow Yellows update accountability. We check in with each other to make sure that we're up to date with each other's goals. I don't want to use the word podcast.
Basically, it's a visual podcast.
It's become a podcast a little bit, so
Yeah.
if you're interested, stay tuned. So, question number one: how do you manage your time and energy? Because you got work at a part-time job, then you work at a brokerage, which is recently. Then you also got to manage your social media accounts. Then you also setting up a website.
Yeah.
Then you also got school. So how do you go about managing your time and energy?
Dude, that's a great question. And to be honest, I don't know how I'm still sane. But really, at the end of the day, the one way that I've been able to manage everything that I'm doing is that I just cut the bullshit, you know? I mean, before I took on all of these obligations, I would, waste my time here and there, maybe throughout like longer sessions of watching things on YouTube or Netflix. And not to say that entertaining yourself with those platforms is a bad thing. It just becomes bad when it overcomes your daily life, where you're spending more time behind a screen rather than out in the world doing. And I just didn't want to continue that kind of lifestyle. I didn't see myself going anywhere. And I'm glad you showed me that one thing where you block out like the home page and the subscription feed on YouTube on my computer. Because even at that time, like I was more focused than I ever been, but still I would lose like an hour of my day just watching a video here and there. I'd be like, okay, I did this, so I'll treat myself to a video, which again is okay to incentivize yourself for completing a task. But it just became evident that I was incentivizing the things I was doing too much. I was treating myself more than I really should have been. And yeah, just trying to limit the amount of time that I'm doing things that won't benefit me. Because there's only 24 hours in the day. You can have all the fame, all the money in the world, but at the end of the day, we're all limited to time. And that's the one thing that we as humans haven't figured out how to extend, in a substantial way.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean, there's this quote by Gary Vee that I like, work hard, sleep harder. So you don't have to sacrifice the amount of hours of sleep that you get, but you also gotta, work hard and get that rest in, because in the long term, it's just the amount of times that you show up to the table and get things done. And I was, good insight on how you spend your time, man. And I completely agree, like, cutting out the bullshit is like something really important. Doing what's important for your goals and doing that, prioritizing that, instead of letting your old habits sway you into doing things that doesn't really matter to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we both are able to keep each other accountable for. Like, at the end of the month, this helps us with that.
Oh man, it really does. And this is all your idea. I was hesitant about doing it at first just because I didn't want to put myself out there and like feel pressured or like bad about myself for not doing something that I said that I was going to do. But in reality, that's what the both of us needed. We needed like a way to push ourselves to actually achieve the goals that we set in mind for ourselves. And I really like that quote that you brought up by Gary Vee and what you were saying about you don't have to sacrifice things that will affect your health, like sleep. Because I think sleep is the most important thing. I've tried numerous times to, go on that early grind and wake up during these ridiculous hours on 4 hours of sleep. But at the end of the day, that shit's not sustainable. Maybe it is for some people, but I don't have to sleep I don't have to sleep less hours just to have more time in the day. If I just limit the amount of BS that I'm doing throughout the day and maximizing the amount of hours that I'm awake, then I don't have to sacrifice the amount of sleep that I'm getting. Well, the thing about this is on the same topic of staying focused, and with us like doing more than we ever had in the past. I've been thinking about this a lot, about how I feel like back then I felt like I was doing too much. In reality, I wasn't. I was doing very little throughout the day, but it felt like I had no time left in the day when I had to do the most important things. But now I feel like I'm doing too little, even though in reality I'm doing more than I ever had. So I just wanted to ask, like, if you had the same mindset, do you feel like you're not doing enough?
Yeah, absolutely. I had the same problem with I don't know if this is the right word, but restlessness and kind of wanting to. I mean, it's good to put it at a different perspective and reflect on, like in my example, I was like, I always felt like I wasn't posting enough videos. And I was like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is the most productive, focused, and happy that I've ever been. But I can sacrifice some of the other things that I'm doing that aren't as important to me, which I focused on less but more, which allowed me to post way more content this month than I ever have. And in general, it kind of like scratch away from that itch in the back of my mind that I was telling myself, like, okay, well, I know that I got 2 to 3 pieces of content that I want to post on YouTube this week, and when I'm not doing that, I know that there's something a little bit wrong, or maybe an emergency situation or something. But that's what helped me get through that. That's what made me understand, okay, my time is valuable. And so there are a lot of things that I'm interested, but right now I'm going to focus on one thing. And that's YouTube and social media. I mean, I do still work. And at first I was thinking of it as a contradictory to my time, but I've just decided, hey, I'm going to lean into this as a time to connect with people and work on my speaking ability and communication ability. But to answer your question more concisely, yeah, I did have a problem for most of the past 2 months, and it wasn't until this month when you helped me push through getting more content out. Like the last time we met up, it really changed my perspective on, okay, I know why I get that gnawing feeling. I'm gonna do more.
Yeah, dude, and I was so proud to see like the amount of content that you started like shoveling through, and the quality didn't go down at all. Typically, like when people put out more of something, the quality goes down a bit. But if I'm being completely honest, I feel like the quality went up. So both like the quantity and quality have gone up with your craft on YouTube, and you've been doing more than you ever have. Like you said, you feel more productive and happier than ever. It's like that fear in the back of our mind where we feel like if we do too much, like it would like destroy ourselves. And to an extent, that's true. You don't want to get to the point where you burn out. You have to take that into consideration that like we're human, we're not robots. We have to give ourselves time to decompress.
Yeah.
But by decompress, I mean not just laying around, doing something still productive for your mind, but not like going through like the same cycle and living like a monotonous, I don't know if that's how you say the word, but just like living that bland lifestyle of doing the same thing every day.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example of last month, January. I would overthink all the time of like, oh man, I gotta get more content out. But somehow I just didn't manage my time in a way that would allow me to do that more. And so I'd always have that feeling inside of me but then I'd like make kind of a excuse or a thought like, well, I'm actually doing pretty good. I don't want to overwork myself. But to compare last month to this month, I've done more this month in terms of the content I put out, but I got burnt out less. It's kind of contradictory.
It does, yeah. But like that's the crazy thing. I feel like the burnout that you were experiencing when you weren't putting enough of content out, that was just like you were disappointing yourself, like a disappointed kind of burnout. You know that you wanted to do this, put out more content, but the excuses you were creating as a result, like created like self-resentment, and I felt the same way too. I feel worse when I put something off when I just do it. And it's crazy, like you think that something's gonna be difficult to complete, but in reality when you just like do it, it becomes more simpler than you expected it to be.
Yeah. Showing up is worth more than overthinking it. Like, just show up more, And that's something, I'm sure it's in one of your questions, but somebody I look up to right now, he gave me an example in one of his interviews, is Kobe Bryant, about the amount of times that he trains compared to other people, and most of it is like showing up more. So that's just something I look up to in terms of work ethic. A majority of the time it's just showing up.
Yeah. And the book that I'm reading, to bounce off of the comments that you made about that, really in the start of any career, like when you're going out about it on your own, you want to be focused more on just like doing the tasks and not thinking so much about the results, but thinking about just like the action of actually doing it. Praise the effort and not the results. Because at the end of the day, like the only way we can control the results in what we do is by putting in the effort.
Yeah, man. And that's something I had a huge problem with, was I was anxious and like I wanted control over that outcome, but in that anxiety, it's like I wanted to shortcut through the amount of work that I put in and the amount of times that I show up, and trying to control the output. But it's something crazy because it's just recently that all of this has come into fruition.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
And it's all a learning experience. Like, you don't have to have shit figured out. Absolutely. Like from the get-go. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, it's just good that you're actually learning about this earlier than most people would learn about like these kind of fundamentals.
And to bounce off of that, it's like I was so worried about the outcome, the results. Like I was trying to rush the learning curve without actually doing anything, without doing as much as I could. And then this month came around, I'm like, okay, I just need to stop overthinking. I'm gonna post, I'm gonna brainstorm, and I'm just gonna keep showing up. And that's
right.
That's what I do.
And as a result of that, you're still learning. You're doing and then learning as like the knowledge that you get from doing these things is a byproduct. Yeah, so that's the beauty of just like showing up and actually doing the shit that you gotta do. One of my questions, the first question that you asked, is about what things do you do to keep yourself focused? I don't know if you really got into that, but if you want to give your take on what you do.
What do I do to get focused? Well, I focus, I already touched on it, I focus on less, more. And what do I mean by that? In terms of a practical thing that I do, I literally go on Google Calendar every night and just schedule, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do tomorrow? And there are things like occasional, like I have to fit in chores. I have to do the occasional appointment.
Yeah.
Stuff that I can't control. But for the most part, I've been a lot more efficient and effective. Hey, security guard, you wanna?
I'll let him out.
Yeah. I've been a lot more effective in the things that I focus on because I use Google Calendar as a great tool.
Yeah.
I was considering making a video about it, honestly.
I think you should. I mean, why not? Like any idea, even if it's not the greatest idea, it doesn't have to be. Maybe it doesn't sound as great of an idea to you, but maybe to others it is.
And maybe it might resonate with others.
Yeah.
And as a result, do well. And that's something that I still struggle with a little bit. Like, I didn't just kick the bucket this month completely. It's still wanting to get that perfect video idea, which I will. I'll get better at it. I gotta do that through actually posting videos and seeing the result.
Right.
But yeah, I use time blocking. That's a method that is called.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that's cutting the bullshit. That's what we both touched on. Just texting way less, being on my phone way less, and that's really the ones that I want to focus on. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's very powerful to plan your day, like the next day before. So the night before, you just, whether it's Google Calendars or like on a piece of paper, which is what I do, and I've been keeping like my schedules for each day since October. And I think it's just a cool way to keep track of my progress, like how my day has been changing throughout the year. And you get a sense of satisfaction, at least by writing it on paper and then checking it off throughout the day. And you and I, we do so much during the day. It's hard to like remember all of that and know what you have to do. So if you have it like right in front of you, like you keep it on your desk on your phone, you're always going to see it and be reminded, okay, this is what I have to do. I need to get this done today. Rather than like remembering it from the back of your head after you spent an hour on YouTube or 5 hours on Netflix.
Do the days go by faster for you?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it. Like, I love the fact, I love and hate it. I hate that it goes by fast because, like, I feel like there's less time now there's actually less time for me to do things.
Yeah.
But when, I just hated the feeling of being stuck. And this was less than a year ago, around this time, like, was when it was worse. I would just come home from school and then do nothing for the rest of the day. Like, take a nap, lie around, and watch YouTube, and then, like, finally find the motivation to do my homework. But then I'd be doing that, like, late in the morning, and then complain that, oh, man, I'm so tired. Like, this sucks. And I mean, like, I can't put all the blame in school. Like, you have to go to school, you know? And really the blame should have been put on myself for not necessarily sucking it up, but just, like, being more proactive during the day. Rather than, like, I use all of those platforms as an escape, you know?
Hey, I think I haven't read it myself, but I think there's a good book written by the same person who wrote Think and Grow Rich. And it's called Outwitting the Devil, right? We all have our vices, and I think the book focuses on why. So the reason he wrote it was because he noticed, well, people know the concepts in Think and Grow Rich. Why aren't they doing anything?
Mm-hmm.
And he noticed that it's very hard to get out of the routine, the mentality that you've built up, like the habits, everything that we were in the past 17, 18, 19 years of our lives.
Yeah.
That made us who we are. And for me, pretty much the same. Like, I literally, in high school, I used to think, man, I don't have time for this club that I'm in. I don't have time for this homework that I don't want to do this. But then after I get home, I literally just played into my vices.
Right.
And I'd make excuses. And I don't want to try and, I don't want to make people feel bad. I want to inspire them to do better. And that's just the way that I see us telling our experiences.
Yeah.
To like, hopefully it resonates with somebody. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I always preach that like people have the freedom to live their lives however they want. If that's what they want to do, I'm not saying it's bad for them. It's just for me, it wasn't good. And I recognize the fact that there's other people that are in the same circumstances that we were, and it just feels good to like share about it, because I wish this was something that like I heard. You know, when I just started like educating myself about finances, like finances is really like the pivotal moment where I began to care more about my future, because I was like, the world runs on money, and money isn't everything, but at the end of the day, you have to be realistic about the fact that certain things you need money for. You need money just for like your basic needs, shelter, food, and you need money to start a family, which is what like I want ultimately. That's when I'll feel fully fulfilled, is when I have a family of my own, like that came from my loins, you know. And I don't want them to be under the mindset that like you need to be dependent on money. I guess like money needs to be dependent on you. I don't know if that makes sense, but like,
damn,
crack the code of life. I got a text from the FBI, the IRS. Yeah, but like you said, this is not to shame anyone, and I don't know if anybody has gotten this far in the video, but like eventually, I just want to keep preaching that, is like, take action in your life. You know, if there's something that you want to do, like really ask yourself, is it you that's stopping you from doing that, or is it your circumstances? Because I acknowledge the fact that not everybody is in the same circumstances. There's a clear divide in when it comes to the ability for people to become successful. You know, I'm not saying everyone has an equal chance at being successful. That's not true. But everyone has a chance. And, you know, you can complain all you want about, oh man, my chances are slim at becoming successful. You said slim. You didn't say you have no chance. So go for it. I mean, complaining about it isn't going to stop all the successful people from, you know, stopping being successful. They're not going to be like, oh, let me take a pause here. You know, that's just the way life is, unfortunately. I wish, you know, just people in general were more caring. And they are. But I don't know where I'm getting at this, but
I know.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. Because you took a long break from Instagram, from social media.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what, if you want to touch on the reasoning behind that and like what resulted from it?
Yeah, I can just remember the moment when it clicked in my head, like, you know, this is enough of social media. Like, I would be in the bathroom or like on the couch for like, I would tell myself, okay, 5 minutes of Instagram, let me scroll through my feed. But then 5 minutes would turn into an hour. And then this was at the time when I was trying to become more productive. And I was like, I said to myself, if I really want to make things work out in what I want to do, then I just have to suck it up and be like, okay, enough of this. And I didn't go like fully off the grid right away. Like, I don't think you should ever make such a big change in your lifestyle in one like quick sweep. Should be like in increments. So I started off with like Snapchat because I never really used it. So I became more comfortable with just like getting rid of each of those apps. Snap, Netflix. Then I deleted YouTube off my phone. And then that's when I finally deleted Instagram and Facebook. So I definitely think like you should go at it like a snowball. Start off small and then work your way up to like the big thing that's stopping you from what you want to do. But now like I've come to realize that social media for you and I is very important. But taking like those few months, like 2 or 3 months off from being dependent on Instagram and Facebook have like trained me not to be so dependent on them and not to keep like mindlessly just clicking on it. So I think like to do that like here and there, I think that's a good way to like a reset button. So I think like every month or so, I feel like I should take a little break just to like reset myself. Have you ever questioned your ability to become successful in what you do?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I know that it's a long-term game, the way that I've been conditioned, and I think we've all been conditioned in some way, is to think like, to react short-term. And it can be something like, this video didn't do good, I'm doing horrible, or something like that.
Yeah.
To like, that kind of makes me backtrack a little bit, like, how do I do this? And but long term, I know that I will be successful, and I know that there's something that I enjoy what I do, and something that I'm excited for in the future. And I also want to be present in the moment. I know it's easy to see a goal, bull rush, wanting to get that right now. But this is probably like gonna be one of the shortest moments of our lives, like where we are right now.
Yeah.
And once we get further in our careers, we'll be looking back like, damn,
Right.
we're here and we're still going. So that was my take on.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah. I think like you said, just the way like the generation that we grew up in, where we're made to believe that every like success is right around the corner, but in reality it could come in a week, a month, a year, for many years. But when you look at it, like if you were to live to 80 years old and it takes you 3 years to get you to where you want to be, that's just like a fraction of like how long you're gonna live, you know, if you look at it that way. Like 3 years seems like such a far time from now.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's easy to feel like discouraged by that fact. But if this is truly what you want to do, then you just have to own up to the fact that, hey, if it takes this long, then I'm just gonna have to stick with it. Like, this is, you know, you gotta make it or make it.
One thing I wanted to ask you, what's your take on mentorship? Do you think it's something that you can kind of rush to find, or do you think it's a natural thing that somebody that you find?
It's definitely not something that you rush into. You have to take the time to find the right mentor, because once you establish that relationship, it's sometimes hard to get out of it. And I believe that everyone absolutely needs a mentor, because if you're going into something inexperienced, doesn't matter like how much you do, like it's gonna take you much longer, and it's going to take more effort than if you have someone who can provide you with the knowledge that they've already acquired through their wins and failures, you know? Yeah. Like, why would you go into something blindly when you know for a fact that you can find someone else who you provide value for? Like, you'd want to provide more value to your mentor than the mentor provides for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the way it should be. Like, your mentor, they're on like a limited like schedule. They're so successful that, you know, for them to give a fraction of their time to you in order to help you grow, you should be grateful for that and really give back to them, because really they don't receive anything out of them helping you unless you provide them value in the relationship. What they receive out of it is fulfillment, you know. People love to help each other, see other people grow because of themselves.
Yeah, that's something I want to figure out how to do. Just connect with somebody in my field that could be a mentor to me. But I can't rush it. So I just gotta keep trudging through in what I'm doing and, you know, do what I do best.
Right, exactly. I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, how many videos did you upload this month? It's
Oh, this month? Okay. Like 7, 8.
yeah, that's like that exceeds the goal that you set prior to this month, which was 6. You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and I talked. We were like, okay, you posted what 4 videos last month?
Last month was only like 3.
Yeah, only 3 videos, and you doubled that. And I don't. It's up to you, but I think like if you just stick with where you're at, posting like maybe at most 10 videos in a month, like make sure they're high quality videos. But if you just keep, you know, putting those out, you're gonna create like a backlog of videos. Yeah, and that's like if those videos don't hit now, I mean, they could hit later on. But you're right now you're building your brand, you're making yourself more reputable. So the more videos that you have on your channel, the more like content that people are able to associate you with.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's literally swinging, and the more swings you take, I mean, you're bound to keep hitting and get better at hitting instead of just like my problem was overthinking, like, oh, is this video gonna hit? Well, you didn't even swing. How are you gonna know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. You can't expect like doing this one thing. Like a lot of people, if we're viewing it like in a marketing aspect, they think, oh, I launched my website, everybody is just gonna go into it. And then I'm here like, how do you expect people to go onto your website when you never like really put the word out? Or like people will think if I act in this one movie, you know, then this is my big break. I'm gonna be, you know, an A-list actor. Like, no, and that applies for everything. It's never on the 1st or 10th or even the 100th try. There's really no exact amount of attempts that will like get you to where you want to be. It's always random. You never know.
Yeah,
like,
and generally, if you're trying to find that one thing that'll change the direction of your career, you don't want to be the dude that's the one-hit wonder.
No.
Yeah.
You want your career to be sustainable for the long term. I mean, if you do want to just be the one-hit wonder, then by all means, go ahead. But yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's brick by brick, like Will Smith would say.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I like that.
Keep placing those bricks down, and soon enough you have a wall. So.
Yeah, didn't he build a wall with his brother?
Yeah.
Okay, that was him.
That was literally what he did.
Oh, shoot. He built that wall.
It's a good lesson, though. Most of us haven't built a wall.
No.
Let alone a career, so.
Right, exactly.
Keep showing up. No, this is my thing. You gotta find something.
Peace. Well, we're the two fellow yellows.